Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Today I want to talk about ways to get things done. This is stuff that I learned throughout the years from constantly being frustrated about the fact that there was always more that I wanted to do than I actually felt like I had time to do. I remember feeling like life was kind of passing me by, that people who wanted things out of life and really wanted them, they were moving forward, and I wasn't moving forward as quickly as I wanted. I remember going through my PhD program, and literally I was in school for nine years after undergraduate, and I was studying constantly. I'm talking about 8, 10 hours a day, and the thing was, the crazy thing was that no matter how much I studied, it wasn't enough. I never got enough done. I never made the progress I wanted to make. I always fell short of my objectives. But what I learned was that by setting very high goals for myself, I was actually achieving at a rate that was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I started teaching college at the age of 22, and I remember not even thinking that that was a big deal. I remember thinking that I was behind at the age of 25, 26 because I thought I'd have my PhD by 25 or 26. Instead, I got a bunch of master's degrees, and I finally finished my PhD work at about the age of 31. And so ultimately, I learned a few things about how to get things done, how to be really, just precise, laser focused in terms of setting a goal and achieving it. I'm not perfect at goal setting, but I've gotten pretty good. So here are 5 things I wanted to share with you on how to get things done in your life, how to be a mover and not just a talker, how to not just conceive of what you want to do, but to actually take the steps to do it. It really comes down to a culture and a lifestyle that you build in your own life. If you don't build the right culture, the right lifestyle, and form the right habits, then you will not be achieving the right objectives. You will not be going in the right direction. You will not end up where you want to end up. You're going to end up somewhere else, and you're going to find yourself living somebody else's life. So here you go. Five things that I practice that really help me get things done. Number one, you got to be consistent. Consistency means every single day, day in, day out, you get in this habit of doing the exact same thing every single day. Not to the point where your life is boring, but to the point where you're always making progress. If you think about it, imagine if somebody told you to walk from New York to California. You're not going to do it in one big step. You're not going to do it in one day. It's going to require tens of thousands of little steps, all of which are going to seem so insignificant it's ridiculous, and you got to make sure you're headed in the right direction, that you're walking a certain amount of time every day, and that you're walking consistently. It's like step, 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 step. Well, life is kind of the same way when you're building a business or achieving a goal. It's literally tens of thousands of baby steps that get you to where you want to get to. Just the same as a mother raising a child to the age of 18. She doesn't do all that in one day, no matter how hard she works. She has to make 10,000 little decisions all along the way that are going to get this child to adulthood in one piece. So you got to be very, very consistent. Now, this isn't something that I always do. Now, just so you know, when I give you this list, I'm not giving it to you because I'm perfect or because I always do exactly what I'm supposed to do or always practice everything that I preach. No, it's a constant battle. You're always talking to yourself about, man, I need to try harder. I've been lazy lately. But what happens is you're constantly refocusing. You lose focus, you refocus. You lose focus, you refocus. It happens all the way through your life, but you got to be committed to refocusing. Number two, speaking of focus, shut off distractions when you work. You have to respect your time. You have to treat your time as if you are as important as the President of the United States. I don't care if you got a nickel in your pocket. I don't care if you ain't accomplished nothing. I don't care if you're unemployed. I don't care where you're at in life. You respect your time. You need to respect your dream and your goal. Your goal is your baby. A parent, even if a parent has an ugly baby, they're still not going to let somebody come in there and hurt their baby or take their baby away or kill their baby, right? So your dream is your baby. You protect your baby. You protecting your baby means shutting down distractions, distracting people, stupid, ignorant situations. I'm talking about all the social media that's out here. You got Facebook, Twitter, text, email, phone calls. You notice right now my phone is shut down. I'm not taking Facebook messages. I'm not taking emails because I'm grinding. I'm trying to get things done. In this world that we live in, there are too many distractions to the point where you can go crazy trying to keep up with everything that's happening, and it's always pulling you over here and over there and over there. Next thing you know, you've worked really, really hard all day and got nothing done. That is a horrible feeling. Don't put yourself in that situation over and over and over again. Next, always make a list. I believe in lists. I believe in daily lists. I believe in weekly lists. I believe even monthly lists. You can see, I can show you right here on pieces of paper where I've just got list after list after list with chicken scratch. I literally have four notepads. Now, I'm not saying you want to be as crazy as me, but I've got several notepads filled with lists, nothing but things to do. Me writing things down. Let me tell you this other little secret. I don't get very far on my to do list. Most of the time, I get mad. Every day I get mad. I'll have a to do list this long and I'll get about that far on the list. But you know what? Next day I come back and I'm swinging at that list. I'm going at it again. I scratch off those two things I finished yesterday. I'm going right back at the list. Even though the list keeps growing and all this stuff, the list keeps me focused. The list reminds me of what matters. If you're not on my list, then you don't exist. That's my rule. So anything that's important to me, I put it on the list. My family, working out, doing the work for my career, for building my business, things I want to learn, blogging that I want to do, teaching that I want to do on the internet, all of that, it's always on the list. If it ain't on the list, then it don't exist. That's another way to keep focus. The fourth thing is you may want to keep a timesheet. I learned this technique back in undergraduate where basically they said that most people that sit down and study, now this is what I picked up when I was studying, trying to become a good student in school. I wasn't a good student in high school, but I was a straight A student in college. Not just a straight A student, but I blew the roof off of my undergraduate career, because once I got that feeling of doing well in school, I didn't want to let it go. I said, oh, I'm taking this to the limit. I want to be the best in the world. And that was just a passion for me. But one of the things I learned was about this idea of keeping a timesheet. A timesheet is where basically every time you start working on something, you write down what you're working on and you write down how much time you've put into it. And then I'm trying to see if I have any of my timesheets around right now. I don't have a timesheet nearby, so I can't show you one. But basically, I would write down what I was studying and how long I studied it. So if it was English, I'd say, okay, 9 o'clock I started my, 9 o'clock I sign in. I finished, stop studying English at 11. I signed out, so that's 2 hours. And then I go do math for an hour and a half. Then I do something else for 2 hours. And I would take little breaks in between. But at the end of the day, I always told myself I want to treat my studying like a full-time job. I want to make sure I do 6 to 10 hours every day in undergrad. This is when I was in undergrad before I became a crazy grad student where I really had to study until I just couldn't do anymore. But I would say I'm going to do at least 6 to 10 hours a day. My goal each week was to do 40 to 50 hours a week, just like a job. People do 40 hours a week on their jobs every week. Most people do more than 40 hours, and that was my goal. And I said I don't care what my grades are. I'm not going to pay attention to the grades. All I know is that 9 times out of 10, if I'm putting 40 to 50 hours into my studying every week, if I'm studying 6 to 8 hours a day, I'm probably going to get good grades in most of my subjects. You understand? Practice makes perfect. Putting the time in is how you get the result, right? So as a result, what happened was I didn't just make straight A's. I was able to do crazy magic tricks. Like I remember taking 27 credit hours in one semester, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it was 27. I remember asking them to let me sign up for 27, so maybe I dropped to 24, but it was something ridiculous, and I blew the classes out the water because I was putting in 40, 50, 60 hours a week of studying, and nobody else was. And the funny thing to me was, people thought that was insane. Whoa, how can somebody study 6, 7, 8 hours a day? Well, I say, well, people go to work 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and most of the time they're getting a minimum wage paycheck. So why would you work 10 hours a day because somebody is giving you a minimum wage paycheck, but not put 10 hours a day in to build your own dream? Why would you work harder to build somebody else's vision than you work to build your own vision? And that really comes down to self-esteem. How much you really respect your goals. How much you really love your baby. Remember, your dream is your baby. How much do you really love that baby? Do you love somebody else's baby more than you love your own? Because we spend a whole lot of time taking care of somebody else's stuff, but not any time putting in time to take care of our own. And that's kind of silly. It's kind of ridiculous. Number five, the last thing you got to do. This is really important when it comes to getting things done and achieving goals, is you got to build the right life. You got to build the right life. Your life must be built around the idea of achievement. What does that mean? That means you got to manage your relationships. If you're single, don't let people into your life who are going to throw your life for a loop, who are going to bring drama, nonsense, excessive financial burdens, emotional burdens, distractions, ignorance, laziness, bad habits. Don't let people like that in your life. Don't let them in your relationships. Don't let them into your friendships. And certainly don't let them into your business, right? Don't let people like that. And the other thing is, think about little things like time management when it comes to the day to day grind, of the day to day routine of the life that you've built for yourself. So, for example, if I'm really trying to finish my novel in my spare time, but I move myself to New York City with with a spouse and four kids, and a big mortgage, a gigantic mortgage that I can barely afford, and a job that requires an hour and a half commute every day, I can hang it up. I can pretty much hang it up. That goal, every time I put stack something on my life that makes it more complicated, I'm reducing the probability that I'm ever going to achieve my goal. So everything matters when you have children, when you decide to get married, who you decide to get married to, where you live, what job you take. So sometimes you take a more flexible job so you can make it a little less money, so you have more time to invest in your dream. You got to have an equation, a life equation that balances everything. See, unfortunately, we live in a society where people think that if somebody's offering you enough money, you're supposed to just do it, no matter what it is. Just take the money and just sell the rest of your life. Sell all your life for an extra $5,000, $10,000 a year or whatever. And that's crazy to me. You got to build the right life. Part of what allowed me to be focused, I'll give you a good example, and then I'll be done with this. When I went to teach at Syracuse University, my first academic teaching position was at Syracuse University, and I was a new PhD. Actually, I started teaching right before I finished my PhD, and I remember people say, why would you want to live in Syracuse? The city's small, it's boring. There ain't nothing to do there. And I said, that's perfect for me because I said in my 30s, I'm going to spend all that time grinding. I want to be special at something, so I'm going to give it my best shot. So living in this town that had nothing to do. I went to my house and I just went in there and I just started working, and I didn't stop for years. Now, I still took breaks and had fun and I did whatever I wanted. But I thought carefully if I considered getting married. I made sure that the person that I decided to have in my life in a relationship or whatever was consistent with what I was trying to do with my life. I didn't let friends come into my life that were bringing drama into my space. I liked the job because the town was small, so the commute was very, very short. So I could get to work in 13 minutes and back. I only had to go to work 2 days a week, so most days I was able to work in my bathrobe. It was an environment that was very conducive to getting things done. If I'd had a million distractions, I couldn't get anything done. In fact, I published more solo authored research papers in the first 4 years of my career than, if I'm not mistaken, any faculty member in the history of my department. I'm talking about people that have been there 25 years. I did more in 4 or 5 years than they did in 25 years. That's because I was laser focused on what I wanted to do, what I wanted to get out of life. And the other thing too is because I put in all the hard work, I was able to enjoy my life. I've been able to enjoy things about my life that other people can't enjoy. I've been to many, many countries. I've been to just tons of cities. I'm on an airplane every single week. I've found ways to make money doing things that a lot of people can't do. I've been able to get respect for my work as a scholar, and I have a hell of a lot of fun. That's the other thing that people don't understand, especially you live in the new age of technology, is that you don't have to live in a world where you've got work over here and life over there. I talk about this in another video on the Black Business School. Work and life don't have to be oil and water. They don't have to be two separate things where if you get more of one, you got less of the other. More work means less living. More living means less work. You can work and live at the same time. If you're doing what you love and you blend those two things together, it's the most wonderful feeling in the world because you can actually live more and be working more at the same time. You can be making more money, building a bigger dream, and not feel like you're missing out because you're always on the grind so much. Because if you build your work around something you love and something you're already doing anyway, you only get better because you're doing what you love. That's how you kind of grow on autopilot. So try to position yourself to grow on autopilot. Remember, building the right life is very important. Make sure that you keep a timesheet so you can hold yourself accountable. A lot of people talk about how much working they do, but really they ain't working at all because they're not holding themselves accountable. Make a list. Always write it down. Keep it on a piece of paper. Carry it in your pocket. That's what you do when you have a big goal. Number four, keep your distractions short. I'm going backwards down the list, by the way. Shut off the distractions. Social media, all that. Shut that down when it's time for you to do your work because your work is very, very important. Next, be consistent. Super consistency is very, very important. When I talk to people and they're trying to work with me and they want to show me what they're doing, first thing I look for is consistency. I say, well, how many thousands of hours has this person really put into what they're trying to do? Because a lot of people fool themselves. They see it up here and they visualize it and they talk about it and they think that talking about it and visualizing it is the same as actually doing it. No, it's not. It's like the difference between drawing a skyscraper and actually building one. Those are two different things. A whole lot of people can draw the Empire State Building, but very few people can actually build it. So as you're building the Empire State Building, make sure you always know the difference. Build something, be consistent, stay with it, and that's how you achieve your goal. All right, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Please take care. God bless. Have a wonderful day. I am gone. Peace.